Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Monday, almost lunchtime. This is your Monday Motivation and Inspiration. It's something I just recently started. I like to send it out to the realtors and other people that I work with. Not a sales pitch, not anything like that. I just know that in our business, especially right now when it's tough, we need to stay motivated and inspired. So I want to inspire you today with a story about this lady right there. That's my grandmother, Dorothy Ray Shanko. It's my mom's mom. She's holding, and the picture's a little bright so you can't really see. She's holding my Aunt Donna. I don't know that my mom had even been born yet. My Aunt Donna is 2 years older than my mother. If my mother was around in this picture, she probably was an infant. My grandmother was born in 1901, and she was born in a family that didn't believe in the value of educating a woman for whatever reason. My great-grandmother pulled her out of school in the third grade so that my mother could just help around the house. My grandmother could just help around the house and do whatever. So my grandmother didn't get an official education, a formal education above the third grade. Now, this always bothered her. It really bothered her. So, she told me the story years later. In the 40s, probably around the time she had my Aunt Donna, her first daughter, first child, and she had a little more time on her hands, she went and bought a Webster's New World Dictionary. I had it for years. It was about that thick. And she didn't drive. She never learned to drive. She was kind of at the mercy of my grandfather, so she was home a lot. She spent her days, besides taking care of the house and doing all those things, read that dictionary as much as she could. In about 2 years' time, she read all the way through it and memorized most of it. Not memory, spit it out like memorized, but learned all the words. Well, that just ignited something in her that she wanted even more. She had been always embarrassed by the fact that she didn't have much of a vocabulary, and she felt stupid, although she wasn't a stupid woman. So the next thing she did, once she read an entire dictionary, and that wasn't enough for her, back in the day when there were door-to-door salesmen, a guy came along in 1953 selling Funk and Wagnall's encyclopedias. That's F-U-N-K, you pirates. Get your mind out of the gutter. Just kidding. Funk and Wagnall's encyclopedia. So she bought a set in 1943, came with this glass case. I had it for years. So those of you that are too young, an encyclopedia is our Google. So my grandmother read all 32 volumes. Okay, they're alphabetical. And then each year they would send out an addendum, a yearbook they called it. So anything that was new, educationally or informationally, you got it all in this one book instead of having to get a new set of encyclopedias every year. It was just an update to all the other stuff. So my grandmother read all this. You could not touch this woman in a crossword puzzle. She trounced you. And Scrabble, untouchable in Scrabble. She was an expert. One of her greatest joys, she taught me to play Scrabble. My grandmother raised me. She taught me to play Scrabble when I was probably 3 years old. I started. And she would come up with a word, and I'd be like, Mom, that's not a word. And she could not wait. Her greatest joy was to get the dictionary out and show her little grandson, yeah, it is a word. And it was a loving way. She wanted me to learn that early. She wanted to increase my vocabulary, and she did it by playing a game with me. She took what she could do, because she never learned to drive, couldn't get out and go to the library or anything like that. She took what she could do and educated herself and made herself better. And I think that's the challenge we can all do right now. I'm going to wrap this up under 4 minutes. Let's take what we can do, because right now is a tough time, but there's so much we can do. That's kind of what we're doing with Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, this social media. It's at our fingertips. We have access literally to the entire world without leaving our homes. Let's take what we can do and improve ourselves and become something legendary like my grandmother was. You guys, looking forward to working with y'all. We'll talk to you soon.